Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about GBP, which is, it stands for Git Build Package, and it is a tool for building Debian packages and modifying them using Git. So for instance, managing the set of patches that go on top of the upstream software to make it work for Debian. And a lot of the packages which are maintained for Debian or Ubuntu or otherwise use GBP to manage their patch set. I actually use GBP myself to manage the deadsnakes packages, and so I wanted to walk you through kind of a short crash course on how to use GBP. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be fixing tmux for Jammy. I already did this, so I'm basically going to be replaying what I did here. But there's a bug in tmux where -d -x-y just doesn't work in the version that is packaged for Ubuntu. Now I need this particular setting because my text editor tests itself using tmux. It's a long story, it doesn't really matter. But fortunately, this has already been fixed upstream. So I basically just want to take a patch that's already been applied to tmux and patch the Ubuntu package so that it works on my machine. And yeah, this was a bug in the release version of 3.2 alpha. That's the version that got packaged for Ubuntu. And I, did my bisection, found the actual commit that needs to fix this, and et cetera, et cetera. I already done the work here. Now I want to show you how I would modify the Debian package for this. All right, so the first thing we're going to need for git build package is we're going to need to make a git repo. So I'm going to call this tmux jammy. We're going to call it tmux jammy 2 just because I already made one for this, and we're going to cd into this. And now we are going to run the first git build package command that we're going to do today, and this is going to import the upstream package. There are a bunch of other ways to start a package from scratch, but if you're just modifying an existing package, this is the easiest way to do that. We are going to find the package we're modifying. Note that we're dealing with Jammy here, which is the latest LTS, and we are dealing with tmux, which is currently at 3.2 alpha 4 build 1. This is the Debian version numbering. They use this when they rebuild a package for no reason. Well, there was a reason, but no code changes, we'll put it that way. On this page, we're going to be looking for this DSC file. I don't remember the specifics of this, but it's basically the package metadata, and it points at these other two files. And the Debian building machinery uses this file to figure out the rest of all the other stuff, and GBP uses this to import. We're going to run a bit of a long command. I kind of have it off to the side, so I'm going to slowly type it out. There's a bunch of different arguments. I'm going to talk about each of them after I type it all out. Well, we could probably do it in order. All right, so we're going to be calling GBP import DSC. So this is going to import that special DSC file. We're going to use allow unauthenticated. This sounds scary, but it's basically, we're not going to verify the GPG signatures on the DSC file because it's a bit of a pain to do. If you wanted to do this properly, you would download the GPG keys of the author of the package who signed the DSC. I don't care to do that. I cut some corners sometimes, especially when I'm just hacking together a patch. Create missing branches. This is an option to GBP. GBP is going to create a bunch of Git branches for us, and this setting makes sure that it does that. The next we're going to do is we're going to configure the upstream branch name. By default, it uses master, but I find that it's usually better to put like documentation on your primary branch and to name it main. So we're going to do upstream branch upstream. That's what I like to call it. We're going to call pristine tar. What this does is it tells GBP to store information about the original files in a special pristine tar branch. This allows it to recreate the exact file system that the upstream packager used. If you don't have this, your uploads will frequently get rejected from any Launchpad or Debian or other things, so I always use this option. The annoying thing about pristine tar is it's very sensitive to the version you use, so if you're packaging stuff for older operating systems, you'll probably want to run this command on an older version of pristine tar, but I don't really care. We're packaging it for Jammy, and I'm running Focal right now, so that'll work just fine. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to tell it what Debian branch we're going to use. Debian branch, and I usually name this Ubuntu/Focal. I don't know what the Debian naming scheme is, but I only package for Ubuntu, so that's all I really deal with. And then finally, we're going to put the DSC that we copied earlier there. So we're going to get this big old long command, and this is going to set things up for us. Now it's going to download that DSC for us, and it's going to import it into our Git repository. Now, if we run git branch, you'll see that there are a couple of branches that got set up here. One being Ubuntu Focal. This is kind of the Debian branch. The upstream branch, this is the representation of the source that we get from the 3.2 alpha version. So this comes directly from tmux itself and isn't modified in any particular way. Usually you don't touch this branch, kind of just leave it alone. And then last is this pristine tar branch, which if we show this, you'll see that there's a hex in here, and I think this points at like an object. There's like a binary delta in here. Implementation details. I usually ignore this branch, but you will need it if you're gonna push this or try and maintain a branch there. Okay, so we have a bunch of branches. The first thing that I always do after importing a DSC is to make sure that the patches are up to date with how git-buildpackage will deal with them. Because git-buildpackage has like a slight different formatting to Quilt or the other various patch management tools. So the first thing we're going to do is we're first going to make sure we're on the oh, I named the branch wrong. Shoot, I should have called it Jammy. Well, we're going to start over then. Actually, you know what? We don't have to start over. We can just rename that branch. Ubuntu Jammy. I think that's fine. I don't think that actually breaks anything. But pretend like I used Jammy here. I said Focal out loud and then... Anyway. So now just to double check, we're on Jammy and Jammy. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I want to refresh the patches so that they are in the format that GBP wants. This is just so that the diffs are cleaner later. And so what we're going to do is we're going to import the patches and then export them, but we're not going to change anything about them. To that, we're going to do GBP PQ import. This is going to create a patch queue from the current Debian packaging. And you'll get some warnings. You can almost always ignore them. Sometimes you'll get errors here, but that's fine. This is going to put us on a patch queue branch. We'll get back to this later. This branch is actually very, very important. And then we're going to do GBP PQ export. So import, export, just trivial import, export. And you'll notice that we generated some diffs here. And if we actually look at those diffs, it's mostly just like metadata and like the diff headers and, the unified diff renders a little bit differently. This is just to normalize things into the format that git-buildpackage likes. So what I usually do is git add-u and then git commit-m refresh patches, just to get to a clean state. Now let's actually go about fixing this bug that we wanted to fix before. And for that, we're going to be cherry picking this very simple commit from tmux, which just changes this, and it essentially inserts one line here. And this fixes the bug for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that patch queue branch. The patch queue branch basically has the tmux sources, and then each patch as a single commit on top of it. So if we check out the patch queue branch, if we do git log one line, you'll see that this is the upstream. This is 3.2 alpha. And then it imports the Debian changes. I think this is just the... I think this is just the Debian directory itself. Yeah, this is the Debian directory itself. And then on top of that will be all of the various patch files that are included in Debian/patches. So these are, well, I guess there's 3 of them. Yeah, so we have 3 patches there. So each of these 3 patches can be modified by amending into these commits. You'll basically have to use a lot of rebase workflow to deal with these if you're changing them. But we're not going to be changing them today. We are just going to be adding another commit on top of these. And for that, we're going to add the upstream as a remote. Get remote add upstream github.com tmux/tmux. And we're going to fetch the upstream. That way we can cherry pick that one particular commit that we wanted. Really quick. Git cherry pick this. And so now you can see that we have applied that patch on top of the patch queue. And what we're going to do after we've modified our patch queues, we're going to export it back to our actual packaging branch, the Ubuntu/Jammy branch. And to do that, we'll do GBP PQ export. You'll see that we have generated a new patch file and we have modified the patch series. The series is how the package machinery knows to apply patches in order. And so this is the last patch. Basically, we've taken git metadata and turn it into a bunch of patch files, which is what Debian uses to package. We're going to add the Debian directory, and we're going to commit, and some useful message here. Upstream commit this. Oops, no, I lost the commit. Paste the commit ID. But we're not done here. We need to make our own specific version of this so that we can release it. And to do that, we're going to use the DCH command. DCH is Debian change. I don't know what it is. But it allows us to modify the changelog. And I'm basically just going to take the upstream version and add a little marker on the end of it to show that it's mine. DCH-v being the version. We're going to do plus acetyl-1. You can name whatever you want. This is going to drop us into an editor on the line with the changelog, and we need to do two things here. We need to fill out this changelog, and we need to modify this to whatever our Ubuntu release is. There's an option to DCH which does this for you, but I usually find it's more reliable to just type it out myself. Import upstream commit, and that commit ID again. And so this is me filling out the changelog. That's going to modify this file on disk, and we are going to add that. And finish changelog for, this is usually what I named my, or do my commits for this. So we made our changes here. Now the last two-ish things, well, a little bit more than that we're going to do is we're going to try and build this package. Now I'm running Ubuntu Focal, so building a Jammy package isn't usually going to work. But let me show you some scripts that set up a Docker container. And this is how I usually build packages, because I've done this so many times, and typing out this absurdly long command wherever it was way up there, no one has time for that. So I've set up a bunch of runbooks for deadsnakes so that I don't have to really worry about those or remember all these crazy commands. But the two basic commands are, well, they're in here, so I'm going to type them out over here. They're not going to work here, but they get run as part of this. And the first of these is to build the package. So if you ever want to just build it and try it out, make sure that it works properly before signing and releasing it, you'll use a command like this, gbp build package. So this is going to trigger the builder. We're going to do usuc. This is, I think, unsigned, and I don't remember what UC is for. But basically this turns off GPG signing because we don't have to bother with that. And you're not gonna upload this unsigned package. Then we have to do git pristine tar. Again, we talked about pristine tar before, and we have to tell it what Debian branch to use. Git Debian branch equals Ubuntu/Jammy. So this is how you would actually build the package from your working directory. This is going to produce an error and mess up the directory, so I'm not going to run this command. But you can see from here, this is how that one would run. So if we were to, I think tmux builds pretty quickly. Runbooks build. So this has some nice bells and whistles, but you can see here that it's eventually just calling git build package down here, and it'll build that package for us. Okay, that's going to span the output, so I'm going to let that build in the background. The other command that we want to know is building a source package. And a source package is how you'll upload it to like Launchpad or to some custom PPA that has a builder on their end. The source package is kind of like your special distributable. And you usually sign the source package with a GPG key. But the command to do that is gbp build package, so it's still the same build package as before. We're going to tell it to use a different builder. Git builder equals debuild-S. I think this is for signing. I don't really know. Or source? I'm not sure. But it works for me, so it hopefully works for you. Git pristine tar, same thing, we already talked about that. And git debian branch equals Ubuntu/Jammy. We also talked about that before. This is how you would build a source package. And the source package is what you need to actually upload. Oh, cool. This actually finished pretty quickly. So we now have the .deb. This is the custom built of build my package. I could install this and poke around and make sure that it works. So for instance, if I want to do docker run Ubuntu Jammy bash, let's actually mount that directory. So if we do apt install dist tmux 3.2 -4 _emt.deb. apt install -yf. Oh, actually we have to do apt update first. That's why it didn't work, because we don't have the apt metadata. And if we install that, we can now test out our package and make sure the installation works correctly. So see, we have tmux, it works, cool. You of course would want to validate whatever bug you fixed or patch thing that you did there. But that's how you can build the package. Now I'm going to show you the source build, and it is going to run this command, but I have, again, my special helpers. So, oops, run books. I have a -- source, which just does the necessary parts for me. It's going to install all the dependencies that it needs and run the Debian build tooling, and it's going to spit out a GPG package. It's called, or a source package. It's also going to have me sign with my GPG key. So let me paste my password for my password manager. It is definitely not 1 character, so that didn't work. Again, there we go. And so this is going to sign the package and produce a source output. My build scripts also put it in /dist. I believe the default tooling will put it in the directory above you rather than the current working directory. But basically it generates this .changes file, as well as, what else? Oh, these 3 files. These are the ones that matter. Let's actually delete this again so that we can regenerate it, and so I can double check which files it's actually generating there. I'm gonna need my GPG key again. But that changes file, as well as the files next to it, are the ones that are important for uploading to your PPA. Oh, got a GPG sign. Let me grab that GPG password and paste. Oh, it did it again. Why does it think my password's 1 character? I don't know what's up with that. Okay, there we go. And build that little source package. Okay, yeah, so you can see it's the _source one. So this is the special file that you're going to actually upload to the to Launchpad if you're dealing with Launchpad. And I'm not going to actually run this command because I've already done it before. But the command to upload to Launchpad is dput, and you're going to name your PPA. So PPA /tmux_jammy. This corresponds to a PPA that I've created already on Launchpad using the clicking around in the UI. You can see this tmux_jammy PPA here. Oh, and in fact, it actually gives you the helpful command here to upload to the PPA. And so you'll do *_source.changes, and that'll upload the actual package. And then Launchpad's building infrastructure will build it for you and make it available to users. And that's kind of the basics of using GBP. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I use as well. Like for the deadsnakes packages, I constantly need to bump to a newer version. Actually, we might even be able to do that here. Let's see. Let's actually try and pull in a newer version of tmux. I need to remember how this script works though. Import upstream. So I think tmux 3.3 got released, so we can actually pull that in. Let's see, GBP import orig. Yeah, let's try that. tmux 3.3 releases. I think this came out like literally, yeah, like a week ago. So if we download this file, and if we go back to our repo, tmux_jammy2, we can do gbp import orig, and then we're going to take that file, tmux 3.3. We need pristine tar, no interactive, no symlink, orig, no merge. So that should hopefully pull in the upstream package. So this is just going to update this upstream branch here. It's also going to update the pristine tar branch. Then we need to merge this into our branch. So we're going to, what branch are we on? Yeah, so we're going to merge upstream into our branch. Now, this is going to break all of our patches. So we need to go back to our patch queue. Git checkout. Wait, how do I do this? Oh, there's a refresh patches script. So we need to gbp pq rebase to get us back to our applied patches. Now, this is often where you have to manage merge conflicts, and this is where managing packages is kind of a pain in the butt. And I am not familiar with this patch enough to actually resolve this, but let's just pretend that it's this. And then you can do gbp, what is it? Git rebase continue, I think. Yeah, and then we have another one to fix. But you get the idea. But after you fix this, you'll be able to refresh the patches again, and then you'll have a new patch set. So this is kind of how you would update stuff. It's a huge pain to update packages, and that's why deadsnakes is a ton of work that I don't really get paid for. Anyway, hopefully this was useful. This is quite a lot of information, and I still don't even know all the ins and outs, and I spend a lot of time writing these scripts, so I don't really have to think about this stuff because it's very, very complicated, and I think I'm only scratching the surface of it. But that's GBP Git Build Package. Hopefully you found this useful. If there are additional things you would like me to explain, leave a comment below or reach out to me on the various platforms. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.